Good evening, stinky geeks. I raise my fresca to you all. I am your man, your boy, your best friend, your brother from another mother, Tard Kent, the man of Steelbook himself. I am here to tell you all about Criterion Collection's recent announcements. They just released the shit today as I'm recording this. Who knows when you're watching this? Maybe you're watching this in the distant future. Thousands of years from now, you're trying to figure out what made me so crazy. I don't know. But Criterion announced a bunch of shit that they want you to buy this November. That's 2024. Some new shit, some old shit. No one is surprised. I don't think anyone's surprised. First up, from Criterion Collection, we have Funny Girl. Everyone's heard of this movie, Funny Girl. This is a decent get for Criterion. I gotta admit, it does help them to kind of expand their mid 20th century. This is, I believe, 1968 was when this film was released. This is a big one for Barbra Streisand fans, which I consider myself one. I have the word Babs tattooed on my lower back. That's my tramp stamp. Oh shit! I got an idea. Write this down. I'm going to get a tattoo of Charlie Chaplin on my lower back. That would be a real tramp stamp, like a literal tramp stamp on my lower back. I'm doing that this weekend. Okay. Also starring in Funny Girl is the handsome, the dashing, the debonair Omar Sharif. He is another late, great Egyptian actor, as if I've just been talking about late, great Egyptian actors all evening. He is the only late, great Egyptian actor that you have probably heard of, unless you're Egyptian. You're probably not, though. I should also mention that this film, Funny Girl, was directed by motherfucking William Wyler, who he directed some big shit, if you don't know. He directed shit like Ben fucking Hur, Roman fucking Holiday, The Fucking Best Years of Our Lives. Or is that The Best Fucking Years of Our Lives? The Best Years of Our Fucking Lives? Where does the fucking go? Anyway, this is one for the wives and the gay dudes, so I'm buying it. You know it, because I'm a wife. Just kidding. Also coming out, this is another, I guess not surprising one, because they've been doing a lot of Bogdanovich films lately. Paper Moon is coming to 4K and Blu-ray. Man, I got thoughts on this one. I'm sorry for what's about to happen. Criterion is definitely bringing us another Peter Bogdanovich film, or as I like to call him, Tony Soprano's therapist's therapist. This film stars Ryan O'Neal. Look that guy up. Google that guy right now and read about his life. Or as I like to call him, the world's objectively best dad of all time. This motherfucker, Ryan O'Neal, gave his son Griffin cocaine when Griffin was 11. Holy shit. All I got when I was 11 was a dumbass Super Nintendo. While Ryan the fuck O'Neal was smoking rocks with his son, I can't even get my dad to play Mario Kart with me, let alone smoke rocks. Shit. This movie also stars Tatum O'Neal, the real, actual daughter of the aforementioned rock-smoking Ryan, dad of the century, aka dad of the century, yes. Instead of smoking crack with his daughter Tatum, Ryan O'Neal apparently hit on her at his girlfriend Farrah Fawcett's funeral because he didn't fucking recognize her. He hit on his own fucking daughter because he didn't recognize her while his longtime girlfriend was being lowered into the fucking ground. That is fucking insane. That's what kind of fucking legend Ryan O'Neal was. Fucking legend. He just died last year in December 2023. He hasn't even been gone that long. Fucking legend this guy is. Goddamn, I could go upstairs and piss on my kids to wake them up right now, shake them awake, tell them Santa isn't real, before beating them with a sock full of nickels, and I would still look like St. Joseph, the patron saint of fathers, compared to rock-smoking Ryan over here. What the fuck? I guess it's not all bad. Tatum did win an Oscar for her performance here. I have to think that nepotism was no small factor in her casting, despite her talent. I'm not saying she's non-talented. I am saying that when you are the daughter of the main actor, you're first in line. I am going to buy this movie. I'm going to buy Paper Moon also. Okay, I'm going to buy it. All right, I'm saying that right now. But also, fuck Paper Moon. Where is the goddamn O'Neill family biopic Criterion? That shit would make Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas look like a week at fucking scout camp. Okay, I want that. I want the fucking O'Neill. Fuck Paper Moon. Fuck Peter Bogdanovich. Get the fuck out of here. People, we deserve the O'Neill family biopic. That is the film that we deserve this year. Can we sign a petition or something? Can we get something going? Is there somebody in Hollywood that's fucking putting this thing together? I need to see the O'Neill family biopic. As fucking insane and crazy as that would be. Take a deep breath. I'm gonna take a sip of Fresca. I'm going to try to calm myself. I'm going to try to compose myself. Also coming from Criterion is The Shape of Water. Also coming to 4K and Blu-ray, like those previous releases that I mentioned. This is a film that is new to Criterion. However, it's a 7-year-old movie. It's new to Criterion, but it ain't new to the rest of the world. This movie was released in 2017, and it has actually previously been released on 4K by Sony, no less. I don't know if this is going to be a new 4K master or if they're just going to be using the same digital master from the Sony release. I think most likely, even if it's a different master, a new master, it's going to be quite comparable. They're advertising that it is supervised by Guillermo del Toro, the director, but it's going to be pretty comparable, if not identical, to the 4K previously released by Sony. So say what you want about that. On the one hand, that makes it feel like this might only be interesting to the big time Criterion fanboys, the fanboys who are just going to get anything on Criterion. They buy it because it says Criterion on it, not necessarily because it's something novel that Criterion worked very hard on to put out. Additionally, I will say that this presentation, the Criterion presentation of The Shape of Water, contains only one special feature that was not included on the earlier Sony release, which is a new conversation with the director Guillermo del Toro. So again, comparing it to the previous 4K Blu-ray release from a few years ago, it's got all of the same special features except for one. There's only one feature missing from that Sony. So you got to ask yourself, is this worth upgrading? If you already own that 4K release by Sony some years back, do you need to splurge on a Criterion 4K? I mean, granted, maybe you wait till it's on sale for 50% off at Barnes & Noble or whatever. Yeah, you might get this for 25, 30 bucks. Not a bad price, but even still, more than anything, this just kind of feels like Criterion is trying to complete their Guillermo del Toro filmography. It really feels like that's what they're trying to go with. If you don't already own it, then this is going to be the version to buy, right? Because it's going to be at least as good as the Sony version. Plus, it contains an additional special feature. Plus, you get your dick licked for being a Criterion fanboy. If y'all ain't know, join the Criterion fan club. It comes with dick licking. If you already own The Shape of Water on 4K, then you're probably not wetting your pants over this particular announcement. And I know a lot of people online are not. They're not especially hard in the pants over this announcement, but it is what it is. We're also getting, this one is a little bit more interesting to me too. We're also getting Scarface, the 1932 version. This is the Howard Hawks classic, not the piece of shit remake. We're getting Scarface on 4K and Blu-ray. It's a Howard Hawks film on 4K, people. This is an essential classic of 1930s cinema, as far as I'm concerned. I deeply regret that millions of illiterate wannabe gangster rapper pieces of shit with illegitimate children will undoubtedly watch De Palma's Scarface in 2025. Millions of times. But not a one of those dumb fucks will watch the vastly superior classic Howard Hawks, 1932, Scarface, simply because it's black and white, it's old-timey, whatever. People can't get around that the trappings of an older movie. And I will say that kind of person, the type of person that doesn't want to watch an older movie, that type of person is what I like to affectionately call a bitch. I bought this movie on DVD back in like 2005 or so, somewhere around then. So I'm due for an upgrade. and this is going to be it. I'm upgrading that bitch to 4K. Boom, I'm putting it right next to the Roaring 20s on 4K, which I also got from Criterion. I love films of the 1930s. That's my second favorite decade, right up there with the 1980s, films of the 80s, films of the 30s. Y'all don't even know. It's like every 50 years. That means films of the 2030s is going to be fucking baller as well. So be on the lookout. Next decade, those movies are going to be fucking lit, son. This film could use a commentary track. I'm going to say Scarface on 4K, Howard Hawks film, no commentary track. You couldn't find one motherfucker with a film theory degree to do a commentary track. I would like to say I don't believe I received a call from Criterion Collection. I have a film theory university degree from University of Georgia. Go Dogs. I have a film degree, film theory. I could talk about Scarface for fucking 96 minutes. Fucking come on, guys. I'll do it for free. I'll do it for nothing. I'll do it for peanuts. Fucking hey, man. My phone is still not ringing. Shitheads. Next up, this one is going to excite some people too. This one is also going to draw a little criticism as well. It's a double dip. Godzilla is getting its inevitable 4K upgrade. This is the 1954 OG Godzilla film that spawned, you know, the entire Godzilla franchise that's still running strong to this day, as you all already know. Every time some fuckwit on Reddit gets a boner over how long running the MCU is, Gojira is all like, hold my sake around, I'm about to fucking show you what's up. Been going 1954, motherfucker. That's 70 fucking years this year. This edition of Gojira is jam-packed with features. Is it racist if I call it Gojira? I don't know, it might be. We're going to go with no for the sake of this video and getting this out, but we'll see what YouTube has to say about it. My particular Japanese impression. It's not. I'm just pronouncing it as the kanji, not kanji, as the katakana would dictate, okay? I'm just doing the proper pronunciation of the kana, okay? Before you fucking, yeah, I'm culturally appropriating, whatever, okay? This edition of Gojira is jam-packed with features. It even comes with a reworked version of the American release that came out in 1956. They kind of did like a re-edit and released it in American theaters a couple years later. This version contains both versions of that original film and commentaries on both versions. So you're really going to get like, it's a very nice side-by-side comparison of the way films would be imported, which doesn't happen very often in the United States. You got to think from this the perspective of somebody in the United States, an American. It's like 90% out, 10% in, and it might not even be that. It might be like 97% out, 3% in. When you think about the movies that we watch here in the United States to get a United States theatrical release, because look, as much as I've set out in my life to prove otherwise, I'm the broad majority of American cinema goers are mentally retarded. They don't like reading. They don't like reading subtitles at all. Get the fuck out of here with subtitles. I don't read. That's why I'm watching a movie. That's what my buddy Chris would say. And I would say to him, you're a fucking idiot. You need to start reading. But the fact of the matter is, in the United States, we export films. Our films go all over the world. Motherfuckers watch our films. How many movies are coming over here? You know, how many movies are coming over here from other lands that are getting wide theatrical releases? I'm not talking about us boutique Blu-ray enthusiasts, because of course we have a taste for foreign films. If you're buying Criterion, you already know like half of Criterion's releases are foreign, maybe more than that, are foreign and foreign language films, films that were made in other countries. You understand how important Japanese cinema is in the context of Godzilla. French film, of course. They've put out a fuck ton of French and Italian film as well. You understand the importance of world cinema, but for your average motherfucker, they ain't heard of motherfucking all this other shit. They ain't even heard of fucking Jean-Pierre Melville and shit like that. They don't fucking know Gojira. I mean, they've heard of Godzilla, but they don't know fucking Gojira. At any rate, this double feature would give a good insight into how films wind up being imported and then kind of transitioned from their original version to a version that the studio distributing it domestically in the United States might feel like is more palatable to the American audience. They dumb it down for us, numb nuts. This movie is absolutely a classic. It started it all. It's an important piece of world film history for its impact on monster movies alone. So put it on your shelf right next to Godzilla -1 Steelbook, you nerd. Here's the big one. This is the big one for the month, at least in terms of importance, maybe not in terms of how much it's going to wind up costing you in the long run. Seven Samurai is also getting its inevitable 4K upgrade. And this is kind of the big one. I mean, this is not just the big one for November of 24, but this is kind of the big one for like Criterion, period. This is always the film I think of first when I think of the Criterion collection. It might be spine number 2, but it ought to be spine number 1 because it's first in my heart, okay? It's also first in my collection. This is the first Criterion collection release that I ever bought. This right here is the first anything I ever bought on Criterion way back in 1999. So I get a little nostalgic when it comes to talking about the Seven Samurai. I will add that I have been waiting several years for Criterion to put this out on 4K. I refuse to buy the Blu-ray, right? Look at this. I'm still rocking the fucking 1999 Seven Samurai right here. Look at that fucking cover. That sword is long as shit. And I fucking love the look on his face, man. That's fucking swagger right there. Hang that fucking poster up. Frame that shit and put it on your wall, dog. This is actually one of the earliest Blu-rays that Criterion released. I think Criterion put this Blu-ray out sometime around 2012. I mean, it was very, very early on in the history of Blu-ray, and we waited for a 4K for a while on this one. I knew that they would eventually re-release most of their titles on 4K. It's what Criterion has been doing slowly but surely, pretty much every month for a long time. And so I refused to buy the Blu-ray. You know, for a while I've been wanting to upgrade. It's like, gotta hold off, gotta hold off. That 4K is coming. Might be 24, might be 25. I knew that they would have to re-release this as one of their flagship titles, like Seven Samurai, sooner or later. So when it came out about a month or two ago that the 4K scan had been completed, you know, folks online were correctly speculating that a 4K release from Criterion was right around the corner. And here it is, just in time for your wife to buy it for you for Christmas. Honey, I hope you're still watching this part of the video. The Seven Samurai is a long-ass movie. It's only 2 minutes shorter than The fucking Irishman. I remember the first time I watched this movie, Seven Samurai, in my parents' living room like a dumbass. I started at like 10:30 p.m. I was like, oh, let me just pop this in. That'll be good. Suffice it to say, I did not make it through the film in its entirety that evening. I did finish it the next evening. I had to finish watching. I had to get to the end because I was hooked. I got pulled in. All that setup, I had to see what happened. So I'm just going to say, go buy the shit. You got to go buy Seven Samurai in 4K. I don't give a fuck. If you bought the Blu-ray a decade ago, I'm sorry. You're a sucker. You should have waited like me. Or, hey, you enjoyed 10 years of having that Blu-ray, but now it's time to go upgrade to the 4K. And, you know, I have seen some people online, you know, giving Criterion shit for the double dip. Can you blame them? Can you blame them? When they first released the Blu-ray of Seven Samurai, 4K wasn't that big of a thing. I don't think it was a thing at all, actually. When Seven Samurai came out on Blu-ray, 4K wasn't a thing. And it really wasn't until the last couple of years that it really seems like 4K became viable enough for companies like Criterion, Arrow, Vinegar Syndrome, smaller operations to start getting into dibbling and dabbling in the 4K realm. Although it seems like a great idea for Criterion. Criterion is known for putting out absolute bangers and really seminal and important films, such as The Seven Samurai. So 4K, it only makes sense for Criterion. Yeah, there's the BFI release, but I mean, you know, maybe you want to stick with Criterion because you like Criterion. Maybe you don't want to pay to import the BFI release. You know, maybe you want to get the 4K Blu-ray combo, and you don't want a Region B Region B Blu-ray. BFI puts out Region B Blu-rays, and they tell Americans, suck our British dicks. All right, lick me right in the fish and chips. And you know, so I don't blame you if you want to stick with Criterion. That's what I'm doing. The BFI release of the 4K of Seven Samurai is a beautiful release. I will credit them. Beautiful release, but at the same time, it's not a U.S. domestic release. So I don't blame folks for wanting to be able to shop a little bit more easily at Amazon, and I think the prices are pretty comparable, particularly when you realize that Amazon's not going to sell this for full price, and you're going to be able to get it on sale. Barnes and Noble will eventually give it to you for 50% off. So, even if you wait for it, pick it up. And last thing coming from Criterion is this fucking behemoth. I'd like to meet anybody who buys this thing because it's full of movies. 40 movies. It's Criterion celebrating 40 years of existence. The Criterion Collection as a company. I know you didn't know this. You're thinking like, wow, really? They've been around 40 years? Yeah, they were like releasing laser discs and shit when I was shitting my fucking Huggies and you were maybe not even alive yet. Maybe you were shitting your Huggies too. I don't know, but they're releasing this fucking behemoth and it's got 40 movies in it that Criterion handpicked. I don't know why. There's not really a through line. I think it's just meant to be like, of the 1,200 plus releases Criterion has released, here's 40 of them to give you kind of, it's like a poo-poo platter. It's the Criterion poo-poo platter, and it's fucking super expensive. I love it. It's the Criterion poo-poo platter. That's exactly what it is. The poo-poo platter that has like 8 different appetizers on it. It's got the crab rangoons. It's got the fucking barbecue ribs. It's got the spring rolls. It's got a little bit of everything for everybody. Get a little sample. This is the fucking poo-poo platter for Criterion, and it's fucking going to be expensive, and it's going to be wild and crazy. And it comes with a book, and it looks great, but this is flexing nuts right there. That is flexing nuts. Because if you already own the films, I mean, if you've been buying Criterion for years, like I have, it's been 25 years since I bought Seven Samurai, and I'm upgrading after 25 fucking years. I've been buying Criterions for 25 years. Do I want to double dip on 40 fucking movies that I might already own? Maybe I own 35 of them, but regardless, I own most of the movies in that bitch already. We're not talking about new transfers. We're not talking about upgraded formats. We're not talking about new special features that are accompanying these discs. It's a great grab bag for somebody that has now just, maybe you're just starting to collect Criterion. There you go. This is a great product for you. Or you got a fucking stack of money and you just want to put this shit out on your coffee table and you just want to be like, I'm rich, bitch. I'm rich, bitch. I mean, if that's how you roll, that's how you roll. I mean, I don't blame you. I had a fucking in-ground pool put in, so I could just every summer I could be like, I'm rich, bitch. Fucking pouring chemicals in this bitch more than fucking you made. Anyway, that's Criterion for November. It might not be as exciting as other months, but given how long I've been waiting to upgrade my Seven Samurai DVD, 25 fucking years, I'm at least excited for that. I'm going to watch Seven Samurai in 4K, man. I'm going to have a couple of weeks off. What's going to happen is I'm going to tell the wife, get that shit for me for Christmas. Easy gift, right? And then I'm going to have a little time off right around Christmas time. So what are we going to do? Fucking put them kids to sleep and watch Seven Samurai. It's going to take us a week and a half to get through the whole fucking thing because we got kids, man. We don't watch no movies no more, especially not some fucking 3.5 hour big bitches like that. But hey, look, I love you. I love your face. If you're hearing these words, let me know down below. Are you going to buy Seven Samurai? Did you rub your nipples? How badass is fucking Toshiro Mifune in that movie? I mean, how much do you fucking love that guy? In the meantime, everybody stay well. Peace, nerds.